The Great Ella Fitzgerald, Our Famous Best Friend by Ella and Mary.
Ella Jane Fitzgerald, also known as the First Lady of Song, Jazz, and Swing. The Queen of Jazz was born on April 25, 1917 in Newport News, Virginia, to her mother, Temperance Fitzgerald, or Tempe for short, and her father, William Fitzgerald.
Her parents shortly split when Ella became a toddler, leaving her to be an only child. Not long after, her mother started dating another man named Joe De Silva. The two had a daughter named Frances De Silva, which meant that Ella gained a half-sister. To help out, she took on small jobs such as a messenger, a lookout for a brothel, a runner for local gamblers where she picked up their bets and dropped their money off.
Before, her dream was to become a dancer or singer. In 1932, a terrible incident occurred. Her mother died at the age of 38 from a heart attack. From then on, her life flipped upside down. Her religious stepfather, Joe De Silva, became more abusive towards Ella, leading to her becoming an orphan. However, she moved into her Aunt Virginia's house.
Soon after, Joe died because of a heart attack, so Frances had to move in with Ella and her aunt as well. The death of her mother made her unhappy and depressed, so she became a rebel. Fitzgerald went to Ben Franklin Junior High School, but she started skipping, causing her grades to dramatically drop. Things got so out of hand to the point where she was involved with the police.
Then she was taken into custody and sent to a reformatory. The reformatory she was sent to was the Riverdale Colored Orphan Asylum. Being in there was a child's worst nightmare. Instead of the adults taking care of Ella, she was beaten and abused by her caretakers. However, she found a way to escape that hellhole.
Although it seemed like life was going to be great for Ella, but it still remained the same. She was left broke and alone in the most devastating time in the U.S. history, the Great Depression. However, these struggles did not stop her. It eventually pushed her to pursue her dreams as a performer.
In 1934, she was chosen to battle someone in the Apollo Theater during amateur night. She was going to dance, but the people before her danced better than she did. Before she sang and went on stage, she was booed. However, her confidence made the audience calm by serenading them with the Hoagie Carmichael song Judy. The audience began to fall in love with her and asked for an encore. And so she did. She sang different songs with compassion in her heart, ready to blow the audience away once more.
Benny, the saxophonist in the band during her first performance, helped her launch her career because he was impressed by the sound of her voice. She then met Chick Webb, her friend, bandleader, mentor, drummer, who hired her to travel with the band with a pay of $12.50 per week. From then on, they began working together. Despite all her struggles, she became a very successful and influential role model to many people during the swing era.
Her career began to blossom. In 1936, she made her first recording called Love and Kisses under the Decca label. In 1938, only at the age of 21, she made a version of the nursery rhyme, A Tisket, a Tasket, which sold 1 million copies. This song hit number 1 and stayed on the pop charts for 17 weeks.
On June 16, 1939, Chick Webb had passed away, so their band was renamed as Ella Fitzgerald and Her Famous Band. In 1941, she met and married her first husband, Benny Cornegay, only for protection purposes because of all the things that occurred. After she found out that he was a convicted drug dealer, hustler, and a local dock worker, she realized that she had made a terrible mistake.
A year later, their marriage got annulled. Despite her failed marital relationship, she found a better man. During her tour with Dizzy Gillespie's band in 1946, a bass player caught her eye. She soon fell in love with Ray Brown. Their love for the musical arts made them get closer together. A year later, the two lovebirds got married and adopted a son whose name was Raymond Ray Brown Jr.
Due to their busy schedules, they agreed to get a divorce in 1952 because they didn't have time for each other and it was difficult for them to see each other. As the years went on, she became a favorite guest on numerous TV shows such as The Bing Crosby Show, The Dinah Shore Show, The Frank Sinatra Show, The Ed Sullivan Show, The Tonight Show, The Nat King Cole Show, The Andy Williams Show, and The Dean Martin Show.
When she was touring in Dallas, the police entered Ella's dressing room where her band members were playing dice and arrested everyone just because her manager, Norman, was refusing to accept any racist remarks against the band, even when they went to the Deep South. Regardless of the arrest, she received a ton of support from her fans and celebrities such as Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe and Ella were tight. She was one of the reasons why Ella became very famous. Marilyn helped and boosted Ella's career by asking one of the popular club's owner if she could perform. The press went crazy when Marilyn attended her shows because Marilyn was a very famous star. Down the line, their friendship grew stronger. Even after Monroe's death, she was still grateful for helping her through it all.
After a period of time, Ella started recording for Verve. Then she started collabing with multiple artists such as Frank Sinatra, Bill Kenny and the Ink Spots, Joe Pass, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and Louis Armstrong. She even made a whole album with Louis Armstrong called Ella and Louis.
In 1958, she won 2 Grammys and became the first African American to win the award. She won it because of her songbook projects. Ella Fitzgerald sings the Duke Ellington and Irving Berlin songbook. In 1974, she spent 2 weeks performing with Frank Sinatra and Count Basie in New York.
She also frequently contributed to child welfare outside of the musical arts, particularly for disadvantaged young people, because she was deeply concerned about child welfare. She was quite thoughtful, although something terrible had occurred. By the 1980s, she experienced health problems.
Despite difficult outcomes, she was awarded with National Medal of Arts by President Ronald Reagan. She received many more awards such as the Commander of Arts from France and received honorary doctorates from high-class universities such as Yale and Dartmouth.
On September 1986, she received a life-threatening quintuple coronary bypass surgery, a procedure to restore normal blood flow to an obstructed coronary artery. Her doctors also replaced a valve in her heart. To add on to this unfortunate situation, she was diagnosed with diabetes, which is the reason for her failing eyesight. However, that didn't stop her from performing. By the 1990s, she recorded over 200 albums even though her health declined.
In 1991, she performed at her final concert at Carnegie Hall, located in New York. At the age of 76 years old, she experienced severe circulatory problems and her diabetes worsened. This caused both of her legs to be amputated below the knees. During this time, she spent her time sitting outside in her backyard with her son Ray Jr. and her granddaughter Alice. She stated, "I just want to smell the air, listen to the birds, and hear Alice laugh." 3 years later, Ella perished on June 15, 1996, at the age of 79 in Beverly Hills, California.
She was so influential that fans left flowers next to her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She was laid to rest in the sanctuary of the Bell section of the Sunset Mission Mausoleum at Inglewood Park Cemetery. Ella had her struggles, but she fought through her battles and kept her head up. She really started from the bottom, but now she's at the top. From this, we can learn that you can do anything and fulfill your dreams as long as you don't give up.
Never gonna give you up.